Capillary tube temperature gauge is explained. Now, if you know what this is, you don't need this video. But if you don't know what this is and how it works, and you have an older Mercedes, and I'll list all the, like most of the chassis that have these, you will need this video. It's very important because you cannot cut this wire. And if you cut this wire, you're going to have to pay some serious money to fix this temperature gauge. So let's talk about capillary tube temperature gauges. Capillary or cap tube temperature gauges use a mechanical device very similar to the Mercedes oil pressure gauge. If you look here, they're basically the same thing. There's an expanding fluid. And inside this cap tube, the ether changes its pressurization, which moves this little bell crank, which causes the temperature to fluctuate. So it's pretty amazing how just a little bit of ether and the expansion of that ether in this tube, because this is a hollow tube, it's not a cable, this is just a protective lining. There's a highly flexible little copper tube under here. You can't cut it. And so many idiots, because they're lazy and they don't know how to remove the instruments from a Mercedes, they cut the tube. So if you need to buy or replace a temperature gauge, step one, make sure the tube's not cut. If you're removing one of these, don't cut the tube. Okay? I should probably say, don't cut the tube, stupid, unless you're trying to break it. Sabotage it. Now, which cars came with these cap tube temperature gauges and which ones didn't? Here are all the cars that came with them. Every 108, every 109, every 113, every 111, all of them. Even the last 280 SE 3.5 coupe. All the 111 sedans, 110 sedans, all the Ponton cars, all the Adenauer cars, 300 SLs, 190 SLs, you name it, all those old cars, all the cars that, you know, generally this is a rule of thumb. If it has a low pivot swing axle, it has a capillary tube temperature gauge. The only cars where the exception applies are to the 115. Early 115s, like the first generation of 115s, whether it is a 220D, as in all 220Ds, or a 250 or 250C, all of them, even if it's a real late production car, like a 73 220D, all of them had those capillary tube gauges. If it's the next generation of 114 or 115 series cars, like a 280 or 280C, that type of gauge was not used. It was a real electric gauge, the sending unit. And that started again on the 280, 280C in 73 and all the other cars starting in 74. The 107 and the 116 never had those gauges. The W100 always had those gauges, by the way, if you're curious, even all the way to the end of production, you know. But these capillary tube gauges represent cost no object engineering. Why? One, because they were expensive to make. This requires a human being to fill the tube, calibrate the gauge, check the calibration of the gauge, and install the gauge in a responsible way so it's not damaged. A human being had to run this to the firewall of the car and put it in a grommet. Number two, repairing them is an expensive and difficult process, but you actually get an accurate engine temperature reading once they've been repaired and calibrated. Number three, they're good for decades. If you don't disturb them and do anything stupid, they don't fail. They are very tough. So we get very few of these that are broken. Most of them that are broken or miscalibrated are from human error. Now, let's talk about how these gauges are superior to modern car gauges. From the words of his mouth, a friend of mine who worked for Cadillac, or I don't think he worked for Cadillac, sorry, he worked for Land Rover and Mercedes. Talk about him sometimes on this channel, the great, intelligent Jamie Kupczynski. From Jamie's mouth, temperature gauges on modern cars are not representative of the temperature of the car. The temperature actually fluctuates wildly. The temperature gauge is only there to indicate a severe and pervasive abnormality in the engine's temperature. Jamie didn't say this, but I derived this. By the time the temperature gauge tells you the car is overheating, it's probably too late. There's probably been an underlying problem for a long time. This is a different story. This will give you an exact temperature gauge reading if it is properly calibrated. That means that you can get into a vintage Mercedes from 1970 that's been sitting for a long time, crank it up, drive it around, and actually see if it's overheating or not. That means that, yes, your car could be running under temperature, or if you, I heated this up a little bit. It went up like 1 degree, but you can see minor fluctuations even when you apply slight changes in the heating source. That's why old cars are so amazing, because they were built with a cost no object approach to actually deliver a fully 100% invested driving experience. It's not just cars though, it's things like airplanes or even lawnmowers or tractors, where you had to have specialized knowledge because you couldn't be an asleep at the wheel kind of idiot to operate them. Now, what happens when these gauges become miscalibrated? Well, how do we check them? Easiest approach is to get another capillary tube temperature gauge and fitting and put it somewhere else in the cylinder head or the block of the car where you can find an orifice. Usually I put it in at the 212 switch where you had like an auxiliary switch that would turn on when the car would reach 100 Celsius. We'll usually get the little receiver fitting and screw the cap tube in there and then run it to where we can tape it on the hood or the fender or something and then actually look at it so it doesn't get disturbed. You really don't want to disturb it. Might give you a slightly false reading. But the amazing thing about these gauges is that you could compare two of them and you could see if there's a problem just by how fast they rise or what the probability of the temperature being too high is. And I've learned something about W108 cars, for example. 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder. Usually when the cars are at prolonged high speeds and the engine temperature starts to creep up a little bit, sure, the temperature is rising, but part of it is temperature increase exaggeration by the temperature gauge because the spring in it is fatigued from up and down cycles, so it'll give you a higher reading than it actually is. Crazy, right? It's true. It's funny because this seems to be less of a problem in W113 cars, perhaps because they were driven less, and more of a problem in W108 cars, probably because they were driven more. So if you look at some of the V8 cars, they especially seem to be susceptible to this, where they may be giving you a temperature reading that's 5 or 10 degrees higher than is true. Bothers me a lot because I like for everything to be as accurate as possible. Anyway, if you guys found this little video on temperature gauges to be useful, please don't cut it if you ever have to remove it. Just bring your cluster out to a point where you can disassemble it in the car, or remove the cap tube and feed it through the firewall carefully. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take great care of your classic Mercedes, and if you're trying to remove your cluster, please watch this video first.